So, the phone you see in my left hand, I thought this was the world's smallest smartphone, at least for the last 2 years. It might be because of this little smartphone that you subscribed to my channel originally. I made a video about this little phone and it got 130 million views and got 199,000 of you to subscribe. Well, there's a new dog in town, the 8XR smartphone. Unsure how smart this thing is, but it's a mini phone and it's actually smaller than that last phone I showed you. Wireless call the voice call. I'm unsure what that means, but that's never stopped us before. Now, first impressions of this thing, it's pretty disgraceful. Well, let's take a look at the manual before jumping to conclusions. Because the product version to upgrade or other reasons, the document content will not regular updates. Our company reserves and do not make any prior notice in this manual revision content of rights. Okay. Well, we're gonna move on from this. But guys, it's okay. It's got a micro USB charge cable, and that beats most smartphone manufacturers today. As for the phone itself, this phone is overwhelmingly tiny, and the manufacturers got really creative on getting this home screen. I guess it doesn't really matter considering we're gonna peel it off anyway. Vendors. Alright, they copied 2 things and failed both, but let's go ahead and take this thing out of the case. Clear comparison, this is much smaller than the old world's smallest smartphone. I've got to respect the protection they put on the battery cover of the phone. Definitely don't want to scratch that up. And once I removed this screen protector, I was able to see how small the LCD actually was. This thing is so tiny. I don't know how I'm going to use this. Time for the moment of truth. Let's power this thing on. Okay, not so promising, slow to start, but it's... I think this is 1 tier below a welcome phone. But first look, it's got everything you need. That is, if you're in prison. I mean, guys, correct me if I'm wrong, but what is the application for a phone that's this small? Well, there's only one thing to do. Let's see if it could make phone calls. Alright, we removed the back battery cover, and we're seeing this mini lithium-ion battery. Looks like a camera battery. And when we remove this, it exposes us to... Oh my gosh, that battery is so small. I wonder how long this thing could last on a full charge. Oh man. Alright, well anyways, we got 2 SIM ports here, which is impressive, and a micro SD card slot. Now, I'm on T-Mobile, and I'm unsure if I put my SIM card into this, if I could make a phone call. But again, there's only one way to find out. So I'm going to remove my SIM card out of my iPhone, which I have done now, and we're going to put it over to the mini smartphone. Nice. Fits perfectly. In my last video, I installed a bunch of old Android games onto my Samsung Galaxy S2, and I forgot to remove the SD card. So now I'm taking the SD card out of that phone, and we're gonna put it into the new world's smallest smartphone. I wanna see if I can install some games on this. I'm 99.9% positive I cannot, but the main thing is I wanna see if it can read a micro SD card. And there you have it, all the hardware is plugged in. We just need to install this little camera battery back into the phone, and we are ready to rock and roll. I'm feeling pretty confident in this thing right now. And there's something that terrifies me about this chime every time I turn the phone on. And there you have it. It's got T-Mobile bars. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and call my mother.
Hello?
Hey Mom, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I'm calling on this 1-inch smartphone.
Yeah, you sound real clear.
I do?
Yeah.
I think it's a prison phone.
Oh. Yeah, I remember what you told me those are. That's a big thing.
I don't know what else it would be used for, but...
Yeah, that's crazy.
Well, there you have it. The new world's smallest smartphone could make phone calls, but the next test is, can it read an SD card? Okay, so it does have a file manager, and there you go. There is the memory card, and oh my goodness, it's got all of my SD card files. Click into Android 4. And there are all of my APKs from my last video. Oh my goodness. Well, unfortunately, when you go to options, all you can really do is send this stuff around, copy, delete, which makes sense because those are Android files, and this is not Android on this phone. I'm not sure what it is. You'll be glad to hear that you can also text on this mini phone, although it is atrocious. Look at the keyboard on this thing. But with some practice, I was able to type out hey, you won't be writing any novels out of this phone until you're a true pro, but just to show you, you can send messages. You go to options, and then you have to go to send to and enter your number. That is, if you have not added the contact yet, obviously. As you can see here, I'm inputting a phone number, which is actually my smoking hot wife's phone number, and I sent a text message successfully. Unfortunately, she is asleep right now, so I did not get a response while recording this video. But when she does respond, this phone will be the one to get that text, if I still have the SIM card in it, that is. Now let's go into a camera test for this new world's smallest smartphone, and interestingly enough, I did not think that this phone would be able to take pictures, because this looks sus right here, and then when I look at the camera from the back, under the battery cover, it looks like there's nothing there. Like, that does not look like a camera, right? Well, if you agreed with me, we were both wrong, because when you go into the camera, sure enough, you can take photos, and they are surprisingly clear, which kind of freaks me out. Mostly because the back camera lens is as fine as a grain of salt. But as you can see, it's taking photos, so you can hide a small camera like this anywhere. Hey, that's a good video idea. I wonder how small of a camera I can find. I digress. But if you want to go look at the photos you took, you have to go to the images icon, which is right here. And then you can click into each individual photo and take a look at the photo. And as you can see, they're actually not too bad. Not bad at all, really. Oddly, you cannot swipe to the left or right to look at the other images. You actually have to press back, and then once you press back, you have to click into the individual image, which is, it's just overall kind of odd. Kind of like a flip phone feel, so it seems a little dumb to be a smartphone if you can't swipe through images, but then again, you could swipe through the applications of the phone. Anyways, I want to show you guys how small that back camera is again. I don't see any lens on this. Just blows my mind. It's so small. Huh. Cool, we can take photos though. Now, what about the games? Although you cannot install any APKs, fear not, because there is one game to entertain you while you're stuck in prison, and it is a knockoff of Candy Crush. One of the funnest parts of this game is the challenge. I've got chorizo-sized fingers, and I'm trying to select each of these tiny tiles. Then you've got those default chime noises that are on the startup. It kind of ruins the entire game. But again, if you were in prison and you need a couple good games, sorry, this phone doesn't have a couple, it's just got this one. So hear me out, if you're worried you're gonna go to jail, and you need a prison smartphone that can game, then this is probably going to be your best option. This is the phone that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. For the past 2 years, this has been the smallest smartphone that I could find, and it's actually smart. I put a link in the description if you want to check it out, or who knows, buy one for yourself. If you use that link, it actually helps me out, and I make a little bit of money on it, so be sure to check it out. But this one here, this is truly the smallest smartphone I've ever had my hands on. So if all you need is the basics, you know, phone calls, text messages here and there, photos, and a singular game, then this is gonna be your best bet. This thing's a fun little phone, and I've had a lot of fun with it. Thanks for watching, guys. That's everything I had, and if you like videos like this, be sure to subscribe, because I release them every week. I'll see you in the next video.